Hello, my name's Ian, or Nefarious if we're friendly, and I just picked a random game of Dota 2 to cast as kind of a meditation, a little bit of catharsis. And this is a high Immortal game. I didn't catch all of the ranks, but we do have QO in, and it looks like everyone was 500 or lower, so reasonably high rank game. And we're just in the middle of the picking phase here with Rubik, Crystal Maiden, Pangolier, who didn't really get nerfed, probably still a rather potent hero. I've been seeing a lot more Venomancer while I watch these high MMR games. That hero just does crazy damage. Bananas damage. He is the Banana Man after all. And Crystal Maiden, I don't know how she is right now. I really don't see a lot of that hero, but she is always. I love having Crystal Maiden on my team, and the mana aura is just nice. But a Terrorblade and a Visage, most likely core. I can't remember the last time I saw a support Visage.
Your turn to pick.
Then we get a Doombringer as well. This is again an all-pick pub, so I wouldn't expect revolutionary next level team comps. So we'll have to see kind of how the last picks go. They may be going for mid here. Yeah, probably it's probably a mid brood. Could be a mid pango or visage as well. So a lot of flexibility there. But Ember Spirit actually pretty good against Broodmother. Once he gets a Deso, or even if he wants to go like a Maelstrom, I'm not sure that they do that anymore. Uh, the Brood spiders just kind of die. So I think they have a reasonable team against Brood. There's Fate Bolts. There's Freezing Fields or Crystal Nova, whatever the Q is on the Crystal Maiden. So they should be able to handle the Brood reasonably well, but there's still always that potential for Broodmother to kind of just take over the entire game, as she is wont to do. But it's been a while since I've really played Dota in any decent capacity. Been a while since I've watched any high-level Dota, really, outside of the odd tournament game. Uh, Now let's make sure all of our settings are proper. Directed camera stinks, but okay. All right. So we can take a look and just see where everybody's going. The Ember is likely to be going mid up against that Broodmother. It's probably the best matchup. I don't know if he has kill potential against her, but he can definitely survive her Spiderling onslaught. A couple points in Flame Guard will quite literally melt those Spiderlings away.
In case you're wondering,
This looks like a pretty gross lane to play up against. Rubik, a really, really powerful support in lane. Incredibly hard to trade up against Fade Bolt. Although, if anyone were to do it, it'd be Venomancer. I mean, the Poison Sting damage, quite good at ignoring the damage penalty from Fade Bolt. Meanwhile, in the off lane, it's that Pangolier hanging out with the Visage. So this does look like it's a support Visage. However, it could also be a 4-position Pango. He did start Orb of Venom, so I wouldn't be surprised if it were a 4-position Pango. That's something I've seen a bit more of, and I keep trying to move with WASD, and it keeps messing with my hotkeys here, or my my stats window here. So I'll have to get used to that. I'm most curious about this mid matchup, I think, is it's going to be an incredibly interesting lane for me, as I'm not really sure about that matchup. But if I know anything, it's that Visage is pretty annoying to lane against, and so is Pango. But top lane, already a little bit of action. But it looks like they are going to trade 3 bounty runes. So the Dire off to a good start, getting that cash money. Yeah, and this is going to be a 4-position Pango, dropping his ward. This is a pretty good spot. You see where the Crystal Maiden's going to be pulling, but she may know where it is. And it is, I think, a slightly harder to find ward than some standard spots like over here. I can't ping while I'm spectating. Okay. But Pango has an excellent right-click animation, great passives once he gets some levels, and can really chunk heroes. However, Metamorphosis really chunks heroes too, so he'd best be a little bit careful. Crystal Nova up in a second. She might use it, and yeah, we'll probably force the salve out of that Pango. Wants to continue harassing him, but now she's And Pango will be fine, but forced to use that salve relatively early. However, Crystal Maiden also practically out of mana. Does have a couple mangoes. So should be able to trade as much as she dang well pleases. But up here, the trades are not going that well. It's the for the Radiant, it's pretty rough into this Venomancer. I mean, Poison Sting is an incredibly annoying spell. Uh, and there's really not a lot you can do about it. It's not like Rubik can shoot out a Fade Bolt and say, all right, your harass is worse now. And sure, it is, but not to the extent that most other heroes are impacted. Meanwhile, this mid lane, lots of last hits on that Ember. I doubt many are Spiderlings just yet, as the Brood practically full mana, probably spending most of her mana on Spin Web. And up top, Doom getting very low, pops up Fairy Fire, and the Scorched Earth not going to be enough to save him, and they're going to continue after this Rubik. He doesn't have Venomous Scale up, they used it to get that Doom, so Rubik most likely going to live, but Venomancer, man, what a hero these days, and it looks like some action possibly at bot. Dashing forward from the Pengo does not get a lucky shot in, but the Soul Assumption is more than enough damage. But Pengo will be forced away from that Terror Blade. So far, Dire's lanes are appearing to be a bit stronger now, and Ember, a few of his last hits are going to be Spiderling, so we'll probably see Ember at the top of the CS, especially as he gets points and Flame Guard and Flight of Fist. Will definitely make the hero, it will kind of inflate those values. So I'm wondering sort of what the line of play here is for the Radiant, if the lanes continue to go badly. If they stabilize, I mean, you've got a Terror Blade and an Ember Spirit going into the late game. That's pretty spooky. I would definitely, I personally feel like Terror Blade will outscale those opposing cores, but Crystal Maiden, Crystal melted in the bot lane once again. She's certainly not having a great early game. That's the second death, I believe, we've seen on this Crystal Maiden. And it just goes to show how powerful that this Pangolier is turning out to be. A couple points in Swashbuckle, it's a lot of damage. Lucky shot, and speaking of damage, it looks like got yet another kill on Doom up top. So the Dire are really on quite a roll. But Broodmother doing the standard mid laner thing these days. You'll, especially on Brood, where you have the high mobility and regen coming from your spin web, just to farm side lanes. We see Kunkka do this a lot as well. It's very easy for Kunkka to kill kill the small camp over here, a couple of the medium camps. Ember's not too bad at it once he gets some points, and in fact, it looks like he's even stacking for himself. But Pango, just trying to give him the slap.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And I think the forward position Pango works so well just because of that lucky shot, but Doom looks like he might be running out of luck here. They've got the tricks of the trade, and it'll tick down, and Kyo gets yet another kill, setting him onto a killing spree. And bot, if I were this Crystal Maiden, I'd be a little anxious, but it looks like there's not a ton of mana on Visage. The Soul Assumption not going to be quite ready. But does have a Mango in case they want to go for something here, but Pango, rhymes with Mango, going after this Crystal Maiden, making her life very difficult. Back up top, just reviewing the farm. The Ember and the Brood, their farm is excellent, but we have to keep in mind, Brood has been farming the camps in the jungle, and Ember has been killing Spiderlings as well. So they're both very well farmed, but the difference between like Ember and Terrorblade or Ember and Riki probably isn't quite as significant as it looks. But back bot, some more action, yet another hero going down, but Pango not going to be able to sneak away this time. Does get brought down by that Terrorblade, but only one more gold going the way of the TB, and I would even think the XP probably a lot better for the Dire as they both get 98. It actually looks like Terrorblade got just slightly more XP than the two heroes combined, but I think XP on two heroes is probably worth more than XP on one. Looks like they found Crystal Maiden 2. So she's just here to refill Ember's bottle. I'm kind of surprised you can still do that, if I'm being honest. They've been so adamant about couriers and bringing regen back and forth over and over again. But, oh, I went to the wrong lane there. It looks like yet another kill, but this time on the Terror Blade. That's a really high value
Dire's
target.
middle
The
tower is under attack.
Dire recognizing that Crystal Bane's gone. Wait, there's no one to save Terrorblade, and he's pretty dang squishy. Only 760 health. Sure, he's got that 19 armor, but it's the soul assumption damage you really got to worry about in the early game from Visage. Kibo now level 6 on his Ricky. Going after that Diff Blade, and there's a lot of points in that Blink Strike. It's definitely a very threatening presence.
Radiant's middle tower may need a hand.
Oh, but now we have Terrorblade at level 6. It looks like he's still holding on to a skill point. He may consider getting another point in Conjure Image for farming purposes, going into the jungle. Or he might save that point for a Sunder. If he gets gone on, he probably wants the Sunder, so saving that skill point definitely very wise of him to do so. But Doom up top getting gone on once again, not able to get any slows off on the opposing heroes, but the lift on the Ricky, they should be able to get him too, and they denied the Doom! Oh, this is really bad for the Dire. Excellent rotations coming from the Radiant heroes, and Crystal Maiden gonna get some sweet, sweet vindication, finally get some kills, and I'm sure Doom feeling amazing about being denied. What a complete disaster for the Ricky and the Veno, both getting they had such a good lane there. You can't really fault them for getting confident, but awesome rotations from the Radiant, denying their Doom. That's, I guess, the one downside to all of Veno's damage. And Ember finding 2 of those kills, which will definitely help set him apart. We got neutrals coming out. Royal Jelly is a dream come true for some heroes. The question is who he's going to use it on. Seems like he may have already used it. Yes, we have 1 charge on the TB and 1 charge on the Ember, so they did opt to put it on the cores. Occasionally you'll see that on the supports. But let's take a look at the Radiant neutrals. An Ocean Heart, pretty nice for Ember, the 5 attributes, and that passive actually pretty decent value for him. He's the mid, going to be roaming around and actually roaming down to the bot lane, but he's invisible. They have no idea he's there, but Pango might be suspicious of something. He did bump into something, but does he know? Lurking around now. There's nobody else down here. These familiars could be juicy targets, and he's just going to break his invis. It was going to time out soon, and there was nobody there to help follow up for a kill. Zooms back mid, though, and might try to get the Brood. Does get her rooted. They have the meta, a lot of damage. She pops her ult. Can they catch up to her? And it's a pretty quick and easy kill. So they will find her. And now the Dire or the Radiant, I should say, starting to make some really valuable moves around the map. They've got the meta up for a good long while, so they could definitely pressure this tower. Pango might try to get a disarm off on somebody. Gowther coming in with the Visage too. They've got a TP. They get a disarm on one, but not onto the Terrorblade. A root onto the Pango, and now he's rooted once again. He just gets absolutely melted. They fire the Soul Assumption, but not a lot of damage. Ricky here now gets dusted. He does have the tricks of the trade, so they'll find yet another pick, but they've already lost their Pango so far. 1 for 1, just a support for a support. Both teams may attempt to disengage. Oh, but Veno, he's a little too far in. Has his Q, does drop it. Ricky going in now too, but Ricky also taking a lot of damage. Still very squishy. And the Metamorphosis just timing out. Alright. So pretty even, but it looks like it did favor the Radiant. It was a 2 for 1. Reasonably extended fight. Meta is now out though, so the Radiant heroes may choose to avoid fighting for a little while. Question is, will they be able to get anything there? They do silence him. They've got the Visage Familiars, but this Ember, dang, this guy's tanky. The Crystal Maiden gets slapped. Is dust on the Ricky. 1 second left, and he has the root. Does drop it again. Pango coming in too. Sleight of Fist. The burn damage will be enough to finish off the Rikimaru. And now Ember disarmed. He doesn't have any round hits. He has 12 stick charges. He burns it, but will he be able to survive? No, the Soul Assumption finishes him off, and a dominating streak ended by Gowther. So some really nice gold for him, and let's just take a look at that gold swing. It's still only 10 minutes, but I think it's worth looking at this gold swing, as well as the XP swing, which is just absolutely insane amounts of XP for all of these Dire heroes. And taking a look over at the net worth, though, we see Ember, who did just, someone just died. Rubik, who just died. We see a really high net worth on actually all of the cores are very, very close. The biggest difference here has got to be the off lane, where Visage is a whole almost 2,000 gold up on the Doombringer. That's definitely going to be the most glaring weakness, but in my unprofessional 3K MMR opinion, Doom is Doom. Has Doom. And now Ricky should survive, and if he doesn't, I think he can probably get denied. His health regen, and he will tick out. But meanwhile, Ember getting a double kill down here, or was it? Yes, it was Ember getting a double kill. But Ricky taking out, and the farm game's still going on. We have a small 2k net worth advantage for the Dire, but this early in the game, a 2k net worth lead, not overly significant. Doom now getting Ensnare as well, a very powerful ability for that hero to have. Pardon me. Brood with her Diff Blade, very well farmed. Like, all of these cores are just so well farmed. Ember will pick up the Amiz runes, that's pretty good. But QO still fairly far away from his Diffusal Blade. Once he gets that, I feel like he'll have just such... you have the Diff Blade active, and of course the passive synergizing so well with pretty much everything Ricky wants to do. But Ricky does have a little bit of catching up to do. But one good fight or a few minutes of uninterrupted farm, and he should be all set to go. Let's take a look at the talents that are getting picked up as well. Ember hasn't picked any talents just yet, but could be it's difficult to say what he might go for this game. Visage opting for the cast range, that makes a whole lot of sense, with Grave Chill and Soul Assumption being two pretty important abilities for the hero at this time. Someone else was level 10. Terrorblade. The evasion talent is invaluable this game. Sure, there's a lot of damage coming out from the damage over time from Veno. There's some good spell damage from Pango, but there's so many summons on the Dire side too that can be dodged that it's going to be a really huge deal. But speaking of Pango rolling in, it does get stolen, but there's not enough mana. No, he actually stole the wrong spell. The Yule's coming out from the Ember. She's so low, and they will finish her off, but doesn't look like there will be any sort of a rebuttal either. They get the Invis rune off on the Ember. Pango gonna die too. A killing spree for this Terrorblade. I keep trying to move it with the wrong keys once again. So another massive fight for the Radiant. Both of their cores picking up a kill, and they lose the Broodmother, who once was the undisputed net worth champion. Well, not undisputed, it was pretty close. But now it's Terrorblade who's at the top of the net worth, which is not great. Not great news for the Dire. I think this was a game where, in the early game, it just really feels like this was a Dire game. You've got these heroes that come online with just a few levels, a couple items, the ult in the case of the Visage, and they just do so much work. But now, oh, Ricky, he's caught too. Trying to hide up on the high ground, but not going to be able to do so. Does get tossed back, and he will burn too, but Visage picking up a kill on the Crystal Maiden. Ricky, nice jump away, gets the taunt off, and now we've got Broodmother in, going after the Doom. Doom does have Doom up. If he wants to use it, he's getting extremely low. He might die here, but Ember 2 also getting very, very low. The Disarm is taking so much damage. Pops the heals to try to save himself, but will go down to the Soul Assumption, and now Ricky getting low, deniable, trying to TP out the stolen Rubik Venogale. Only rank 1. The strategic only rank 1 of Venomous Gale means that Ricky not in any real danger of dying from that even before the TP, but now Veno picking up a mechanism to make things a little bit easier. But just as it looks like Radiant is starting to get a really strong foothold in this game, the Dire come back and win a really commanding fight, a 2k net worth swing just about, and now they're farming up illusions in the jungle. And just as bounty runes are coming up, there's at least 3 going the way of the Dire. They're positioned to take both top.
Amazing what you found laying around.
Veno not quite level 10 yet. I wonder if he goes the Venomous Gale cooldown. Gives that spell an insane uptime, but the Plague Ward duration could also be really good. But up top, Pango trying to find an easy, Ember trying to find an easy kill on Pango, and will do so with relatively little difficulty. Has a Shiva's Guard queued up. It looks like we're kind of sort of seeing the return of that spellcasting Ember build in some capacity. But we've also seen a lot of Embers going like Desolator, so I wonder if we'll see that in the future. But With the honestly, with the Ags upgrade, it's going to be almost impossible to kill this Ember. I feel like he's going to get his remnants so fast. They have very little lockdown outside of like a Ricky Smoke
Dyer's top
Cloud
tower isn't
or
well at the moment.
a Ricky Smoke Cloud. There's not a whole lot of ways
Dyer
for them
just
to
fortified their
deal with that
structures.
Pango. Getting the Rolling Thunder, going after somebody. Does seem to connect on the Rubik, and now trying to catch Crystal Maiden. Will run her over to Rubik, getting extremely low, does die. They don't get the Venom ult onto the Doom. Doom dropping Doom onto the Broodmother, but she has Incapacitating Bite already going, or sorry, Insatiable Hunger already going. So a difficult fight. Venom probably going to die. I don't know if they want to keep this fight going, but it looks like the Dire do. They're after Myth. Yeah, still alive. He's got another remnant too, so he should be okay. And now they pop the dust, and actually he's trying to beat up that Ricky just a little bit, but with his allies arriving, I don't think this is a fight that he wants, and just enough mana for him to be able to get out of there. So we'll see where they look towards now. It looks like they're converging out onto the pit. They've got a bunch of spiders. They've got a solar crest. It should be a pretty fast Roshan for them, especially after that bash hitting. And I mean, with the disarms, the armor shreds. Yeah, this is a dead Roche. Poor guy. This is basically cyberbullying. They do put it onto QO. He has been dying a bit in these fights, but is now caught up net worth-wise to that Ember Spirit. However, this Terrorblade, man, he's got real Dota dollars. Top of the net worth. Feeling very comfortable, I'm sure. Has his Manta style, approaching a BKB, but they found a fight. A nice smoke cloud to make things difficult for these supports. Ricky jumping in onto Rubik, gets absolutely annihilated, that Rubik, and now Ember possibly in some kind of danger. He doesn't have any remnants up, but it looks like he does have one sitting out someplace for him to jump to, but it's back in far back. I don't know if he wants that. Just going to try to run back to his base if he can, but the Dire pursuing so deeply, they feel very confident with their Aegis. They get a good stun, but do they want to tower dive like that? Still very risky, even with that Aegis. Doom is on cooldown for 40 seconds. They don't have their Venomancer. Oh, and he jumps in. Is this a good jump, though? He's taking a lot of damage. The Grave Chill. Still caught on that. The Crystal Maiden ult, pushing enemy heroes away. They lose the Aegis on the Ricky Broodmother. Will they be able to save Ricky? He gets lifted, and yeah, he's an absolute goner. Visage trying to play in the background, maybe to get some kind of consolation kill. The Solar Crush dropped onto that Rubik. He's taking a whole lot of damage from the Familiars. And now, after the Broodmother, after the Doombringer, his ultimate off cooldown in just a few seconds. But Terrorblade has Thunder. They need to be careful. Can they beat him even with that Thunder? He pops it onto the Broodmother, but she's still rather tanky, rather healthy, but how healthy is enough? She's getting beat on by that by the Ember Spirit, and Terrorblade finds himself a kill onto the Pangolier, and Brood on the run through her webs. The Sleight of Fist, Ember cannot pursue any further currently. He's out of charges. It looks like she should be able to walk away from this, but QO and Pango not quite as lucky.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dyer's bottom tower is under attack.
Visage farming Ancients going for a BKB of his own. These BKBs are going to be really quite nice. We've got tier 2 neutral items now available, and Ember picking up that Flame Guard DPS. So with the Shivas and the Flame Guard DPS, it feels really indicative of that older Ember build that we used to see all the time, the spell damage Ember. And I think with how his Ags works is very, very powerful. I mean, Flame Guard, he took that Flame Guard Absorb talent, that's 780 damage magic absorb. That eats a lot of Venomancer's damage, as well as Visage. So that Flame Guard going to be up quite a bit, and taking that 50 Flame Guard DPS, that really hurts. As I believe at max rank it was only reduced by about 5 damage. I'll have to review the patch notes. So both teams kind of entering farm mode, and despite the Terrorblade being on top of the world, really, the Radiant are a bit behind. They're about 6k gold behind, but we see the big difference here in the Dire offlane versus the Radiant offlane. There's a 4k gold difference there, as well as the difference between the mid and the two mids. So 5k of this 7k net worth difference is in the form of the offlane and the mid, while you can find the rest in the supports. Venomancer is filthy, dirty rich, twice the net worth without Rubik almost. Well, not quite twice. A time and a half, really. Ember Does he want to go for something right here? Vlad's up on the Pango. Sleight of Fist really just tickles those Visage clones. DD bottled on, was it Ember I saw? Yes. Also getting that Dragon Scale as well, so even more damage over time, but they're going in on him. They've got the stun from one Visage Familiar. They pop the Crystal Maiden. He's taking a lot of damage, using himself, but can he get out of that smoke cloud? It looks like they're forced back. Sleight of Fist, the Silence now reversed. The Venomancer ult coming down, does connect on a few heroes, but it already 2 dead, 1 on each side. Rubik, and then Ember, or Broodmother on the run. She's just not going to be able to make it out of there, going in a little bit too deep, but Ember himself may be making a similar mistake. He's getting stunned, and they have another one. He's going to go down 2. So far, support for support and a core for core, 1 for 1. But an even trade when you're behind almost certainly feels better, especially when that Broodmother is 3rd on the net worth chart. So if it pops up that fight recap, we'll take a look at that and see how the gold exchange really went at the end of that skirmish. Lots of vision for Kyo to be worried about, but good players who play Invis Heroes should always follow the rule of play like they can see you, and you'll be fine. I mean, you might not be if they do see you. Like if they predict, oh, he really wants something, he's going in, he did dodge that dust, but then backs off. He sees Terrorblade there, and that's a guy he doesn't want to play with, so. But bot lane, this tower is just food. I mean, there's familiars, there's spiders, there's plague wards. Even if they pick off 1 or 2 heroes, it's a brutal push to defend against. It really is. I mean, you're gonna have an army of spiders, wards. You're gonna have familiars. It's hard to defend your towers from that kind of poke. I heard one caster once say that one team's stuff, in this case, it's the familiar, it's the spiderlings, the wards. It's another team's shit. They've got a lot of stuff that they get to use, and then the Radiant have a lot of shit they have to deal with. And I mean that literally. It's not just like, gosh dang, there sure are a lot of combos or items or whatever. I mean, you have that too, but look at my screen full of shit. Plague wards and... Oh, Ricky getting bold. He doesn't have a basher or anything, and just gets used up. What is he building out of this? Okay, I'm annoyed. Battle Fury? Yes. And oof. Rest in pieces, Crystal melted. She's having a rough game. I mean, that's the curse of the Crystal Maiden. Kind of just gets slapped all the time. But now that a tier 2 tower has fallen, we do see that the Dire claim an outpost for themselves. So I believe they tick up every 10 minutes. So I think as long as the Radiant get it back in the next 6, they don't lose the XP. But the fact that they have a small bit of vision here now and can teleport to that is very impactful. You can now have Veno come join a fight in the bot or middle part of the map from that outpost. But it looks like Veno might need to be a little bit cautious. He TP's out, leaving a fleet of wards to slow any Radiant push, and this is just very annoying. I feel annoyed for the Radiant, and I'm merely watching the game. Ricky picking up his Battle Fury now, so some nice cleave damage, making farming really fast. Back in the day when it attacked everybody in the AoE, I recall the Battle Fury Ricky build. We've got bounty runes up. This looks like a 2-for-2 type of situation for bounties, but the Radiant playing very group besides that Ember, who is rather slippery. There's not a ton of ways that they can pick on him. If Ricky gets a bash, or even if Pango gets a basher, they may be able to, but it looks like just execution-wise, they're doing a really good job catching him with just the smokescreen familiar stun, which is pretty impressive.
Never refuse gold given.
Looks like Roshan respawning in about a minute and a half. That may be an objective both teams look at. And oh, Veno gets chased off his tower and his plague wards, proving just to be a small nuisance and a small paycheck for some heroes. I wouldn't even say paycheck. It's like picking up pocket change.
Radiant's middle tower is not safe.
Guardian Greaves picked up forever ago, most likely, but speaking of impactful items, Ember Spirit now with his Aghanim Scepter. That's pretty dang good. The Ags just makes this hero so hard to catch. Can have up to 5 charges. Of course, that other power spike going to come at level 25 when he gets the Scepter, when he gets the charge rate talent. Most likely gets the charge rate talent. Since he's going more of a spellcasting oriented build, I can't imagine he would go the Sleight of Fist charges. BKB's abounding for Dire heroes. Broodmother working on hers, Riki working on his. She's also has her Ags, and it's actually really similar to Embers. It just provides the hero with extreme mobility, but Doom, not a particularly mobile hero, and looks more or less like he's given up on life, but does attempt to TP to get on out of there, but unfortunately, just not going to happen. Popped that Essence Ring and everything. One of the best neutral items in my opinion. Broodmother now getting a Paladin Sword. That's pretty gosh dang good with her ult. Both teams finding a repair kit. That could be really helpful for the Radiant. This is going to be like an every egg in one Terrorblade basket kind of situation, but the Dire are after that. However, Radiant aware of this Roche attempt, as they did get the Crystal Maiden ult on, or Crystal Maiden Q onto it. This could turn into quite the skirmish. Terrorblade popping the meta. Pango jumping in the backline with Rolling Thunder, bouncing around, does stop the Crystal Maiden ultimate, but Terrorblade just chunking, gets stunned, has a DD. This could be disastrous, doing so much damage now. Rubik already dead, but the DD Terrorblade, that's a whole other story. Look at him just devouring heroes all around, eats this, but they still get the Aegis, although it doesn't look like it's really going to be an extra life, merely delaying the first death, as she does immediately die after that Aegis, but did manage to pick up the cheese as well. The Yule's coming off onto the Ember, and they continue their pursuit. Riki gets caught. He does get that Sunder off in time. A ton of damage. Look at him go. Fighting into a DD meta Terrorblade. Now that's a nightmare if I've ever seen one. Just look at him eat every single hero. And you know, maybe 2 minutes ago, the every egg in one terrible basket didn't seem so appealing. But now, they're having a grand old time. Broodmother should be able to run away from here. She's practically a race car. But oh my goodness gracious. Look at this guy. He is 4k net worth ahead of the next hero. He's going to have Butterflies in any second now. He's sending the courier to pick up the last piece of it. I think the only solace here is that he doesn't have meta up for the push. Level 22 as well, the 8 all stats. And oh my gosh, this Terrorblade is just something else. I mean, I talked about the Ember a lot this game, about how are they going to catch and kill this Ember Spirit? They don't have the tools to pin him down, but Terrorblade just stands there and beats the tar out of people inside Metamorphosis. Pango trying to get a disarm, but not going to be able to do it, and they continue that push up the high ground. There is no Dire Fortification available. Riki not up for 10 seconds. There's no Venomancer ult for 20 seconds, so this could be a lane of racks. They might play it really carefully. Pango started winding up that ultimate. They'll back off. They'll play it safe. They don't want to push their luck too much. They had a really wonderful fight in their favor, but it's still worth playing safe. Terrorblade now after a Satanic, not even gesturing to the idea of a BKB, and I don't really think he needs one. I mean, what are you going to BKB? The Riki Cloud? The Veno ult damage for a few seconds? But Riki, speaking of, he dies. But now reclaiming the outpost here, but it looks like they both, each team got one anyway. They missed it by just a second. I'm now way less worried about this Ember, who kind of is just going to dash around and be a very warm gnat. But all the while, it's Terrorblade walking into your house and killing all your heroes. Veno's courier is in a weird spot. The disarm. Pango's ult not up. They go right on in, though. They get a nice stun from the Centaur off the Doom. Veno getting low, pops the Venomous Gale and his ult. as well as the Guardian Greaves, but Terrorblade just doing so much damage. He's got Meta up too, and the Manta Illusions. Ember going to Yules himself, taking a lot of damage from the Venom, so they gotta be careful. Crystal Maiden popping her ult as well, zoning enemy heroes out of this, but Ember diving back on in, getting a root off. He's got that Ag, still some ult charges available. Actually, he's all out, he's silenced, he's gonna go down, but Terrorblade, after the racks, he's very, very strong, but can he stand up to all of these heroes by himself? It's risky. And look at his illusions, even chunking a hero like Visage, who is just so tanky. And oh geez, he gets caught in that. They've got the Pango ult. This is the kind of thing that they need. He's probably going to die here unless he can get out and get that Sunder off, and he does just in time. So they have to kill him all over again. The Crimson Guard keeping them alive for now, but now Ember Spirit is here, terribly getting incredibly low and will finally go down. And Ember himself might be in serious trouble. He bought back for this. He's got his Yules going, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to get immediately stunned by a Visage Familiar, and he didn't have any ult charges anyway. Oh, Radiant. Not flying far too close to the sun. Terrorblade's weird demon wings melting, and he goes down, and that is one massive gold swing, if I have ever seen one. A 3.7k gold swing, 10,000 XP difference in that fight. That is unreal. And now suddenly the BKB for Ricky's smokescreen doesn't seem like such a ludicrous idea. They did get one of the racks here. They got the ranged racks, but not going to provide the kind of pressure they might be hoping for. And speaking of pressure, now the tower's under siege, and Ricky, without any fear, going right in, knows there's nobody here, and oh my goodness, he's already just going to die. They popped the fort too. He's doomed, and really doomed. Blink forward from that Doom, who's actually playing really dang well with those claps, but now Broodmother popping her ult. She does have that Paladin Sword as well. They get him invis, but I don't think it matters. He does fade out from the Glimmer Cape. Pango rolling around, going after the Crystal Maiden. The stolen smokescreen going down, but not really going to do anything. And Crystal Maiden, she's low. She's got to be careful. Pango will go down, though. She has her ult, but does she want to get in position to use this? A nice clap. Going after Visage. She has max charge on Soul Assumption. He gets his BKB going. Can they stop him? Can they auto him down? He's so close. No, he's going to get away. And they protect their tower and their racks. And looking pretty good now. Only a 4k difference between Terrorblade and Brood. But that could have been the space that they needed. One little misstep, well, one big misstep, up in that mid-racks, and perhaps they're doing a lot better now. This is really turning into a game. I mean, a 4k gold lead is practically nothing. Terrorblade finds an Arcane Rune, pings it down. Might leave that for Ember, but no, just going to take it. Prevent somebody from getting it. Venomancer getting ult duration. Holding on to the repair kit, definitely the wise choice. I'm sure it's backpacked somewhere on the Radiant. It's just an item that I feel like can really buy you all the time that you need. Both teams having one in this game definitely mitigating the advantage or disadvantage, but it looks like the Radiant are leaving it in their stash for now, but they should be able to retrieve it if they ever need to go back and defend. What an awesome game. Visage getting real fat, going for a words escape me. Scythe of Ice, Sheepstick. And Terrorblade closing in on his Satanic, only about 700-800 gold away. He may also, he'll get it eventually, I'm sure. The Dragon Lance would be really nice. Then he can force himself away out of the Ricky Cloud, so maybe that's why he just doesn't see the need for the BKB. He can just get a Dragon Lance after Satanic and be totally fine, but Venomancer looks like he's not going to be as good. He does pop the ult, maybe give his team something to go in on. Pango rolling in deep. The Metamorphosis is pop, bouncing around, does slow him for the time being. Can he connect it on anybody else? Somebody popped their Ghost Scepter, but I didn't see who. It may have been that Rubik taking no damage from the Swashbuckle. Now the Thunder coming out onto the Ricky, taking so much damage from Terrorblade. He does get the trick of the trade-off just in time. Doom not able to get it off before he dies to that Broodmother. Animal so low, he's got the Thunder, but no, it doesn't come off in time, and he dies. He doesn't have buyback either. They've got buyback on their other heroes. But this is not a good fight for the Radiant. Ember gonna go down too. No buyback on him either. A triple kill for Gowther. The Visage just absolutely crushing it in that fight. And once again, that is a 4.6k gold swing and a massive 11k
Precious
XP swing. Just unbelievable. And Venno, he died right away, but did the most damage in that fight by just a huge margin. Almost 6k damage just on that on the Venno. Terrorblade trailing by even 1300 damage. And they're going to realize pretty quick there's no buyback on Terrorblade. It's up to the supports and the Doom to defend this. He does have Doom up, so they might have something, but there's no fortification. Crystal Maiden picked up the repair kit.
Is under attack.
Does she want to use it?
Have fortified their structures.
Meanwhile, Ricky and Venno trying to take the tier 2 towers up here.
Are in trouble.
Ricky looks like he may have just recently picked up his Black King bar. They've only got 30 seconds left for Terrorblade to respawn.
Were torn down.
But now things are... Oh, nice stomp, but Pango rolling in. Trying to create chaos, trying to create havoc as they take some more racks, and this could even be Megas if they're not cautious. I think they should be able to defend that top lane, but look at Pango just preventing them from getting in and stopping the racks from falling. Doom blinking in, getting another stomp. They're trying to get these familiars, and they will farm one. Familiars is off cooldown though, so it's just gonna always spawn it. They've got their tier 3. Ghost Scepter from Rubik, pops the Yules too. Can they get the Ricky? They have Doom. They may need to use it, but he BKBs and blinks off, and now they're hit by that Venno ult once again, but Ember isn't. He doesn't have such concerns. And do they want to try to get this Ricky? They know where he is. They keep going in. They're diving deep. Will they find something out of this? They miss the root. The Doom does connect onto the Ricky and a stomp, so Ricky, no more tricks, no more jumps. I think he's just going to find himself extremely dead. Look at this Venno ult. It just does so much damage. And now we're seeing tier 14s picked up on both teams. Havoc Hammer and the Leveler. The Leveler could be an item that they're very happy to see. Just put that on someone like Terrorblade or even leave it in it. Yeah, and he's grabbing it. That's a whole bunch of attack speed. And the building damage could turn the 1-1 fight on this half of the map into just a complete disaster for the Dire. Timeless Relic, though, on the Venomancer could be good, but a Minotaur Horn also, man, these are some truly nutty items. I'm wondering if Timeless Relic is going to go on to Venomancer or if they want it on Pango. I feel like the Timeless Relic on Venno is probably optimal, because what, is spell damage and debuff duration? Yeah, I wonder if the debuff duration applies to his ult, which would make this item like doubly effective. They've also got a Prince's Knife, another very powerful item. It's basically a sheep stick on your autos with a 10-second cooldown. You could probably put that on maybe Visage, but what's he sitting on now? The Telescope, he quite likes that item. The attack speed aura is excellent for his familiars, and now he has his Axe. So another familiar joining the club, level 25. He's got a whole flock, or I think is almost more applicable for Visage to call it a Murder. Rubik hanging out with his Philostone, has a gem. They're pinging Roshan. An Aegis for Terrorblade could be really... I think they really need the Aegis on Terrorblade. Ember with the Minotaur Horn making him a lot tankier, giving him a nice active. Are they trying to group up, though, and go for the fight? They have a smoke. They pop it. They're making moves. They know Roshan is happening. Broodmother looking, Doom lurking around, blinks out, finds the Broodmother. He doesn't have Doom up just yet, but does distract them for a while. The Venno ult hitting everybody. Terrorblade needs to be careful. He's stuck in the pit with the Pangolier, though. He's going to be perma-stun if he's not careful. He's trying to get out of there, trying to get his BKB, his Sunder off, and he doesn't get it, and he's dead. Oh, that could be the game. We got a 24k net worth lead, and Terrorblade dead for 90 seconds, and Ember dead for 80. Do they have a fortification up? Doesn't look like it for another minute, and this looks like a dire victory unless the Crystal Maiden pulls out the nuttiest hat trick I've ever seen in my entire life, as Mega Creeps are claimed, and all that's left now is the throne. Well, I guess all that's left now is the Crystal Maiden, if you ask Venomancer. So this looks like it's gonna be the game. Was actually a really fun game to watch. I don't think there were a couple moments that it really felt like the Radiant could come back really convincingly. Their Terrorblade was just huge, but just having that Terrorblade be huge was not enough. They struggled so bad, like without the BKB or even I think the Dragon Lance earlier might have helped, but I think his itemization does make sense. You're the strongest hero on the map. You try to remain that way. You don't care about defensive items. You just want to be as strong as possible. But An excellent game, some really awesome performances, especially on the Visage, and the Ember Spirit was just a real treat to watch. But that is that. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched, I don't know that I even uploaded this, but it was a real treat of a game.